Hello everyone. In the series of learning data structures, our today's topic is Malloc and Calloc difference. So we have already discussed what exactly is Malloc and Calloc. They are function, inbuilt C function for dynamic memory allocation. Why we are using dynamic or memory allocation? This I have discussed in the previous video. Again, let's just go through it. Dynamic memory allocation is a procedure to define the size of data structures like arrays, linked list, and we want to change the size of these user-defined data structure at runtime so that there will be least memory wastage, and we will use how much memory we want at runtime. So to do it if it efficiently, we are using dynamic memory allocation. So basically C provides four functions, four library functions to achieve this, and it is inside standard library.h header file. And using this header file, including this header file in our program, we are able to use the four dynamic memory allocation function. Those are malloc, calloc, realloc, and free. So basically malloc and calloc, widely in interviews also, and in university exams also, people can ask the difference between malloc and calloc. So first difference, malloc stands for memory allocation, calloc stands for contiguous allocation. Another thing is malloc allocates a single block of memory required in bytes, whereas calloc allocates multiple blocks of requested memory to any process of program dynamically. So if you remember the syntax for malloc, malloc allocates only one block of memory. For example, here let me take one example so it will be clear. For example, if we are talking about malloc and I'm writing something like this, that here I'm taking an integer pointer ptr, and this ptr is equals to, there will be casting type. So here it is integer, and this is the casting type for the pointer ptr, and we will use malloc. And for example, here I'm giving as 5 into size of, because we want integer type place, so here we are writing int. So this is a syntax for integer, and what it will do, it will allocate the memory, and how the memory will be allocated, 20 bytes, because integer takes 4 bytes. So 5 into 4, that means 20 bytes will be allocated. And how they are going to be allocated? They will be allocated, for example, like this. So a bigger block with 20 bytes. So here it will be 20 bytes because integer takes 4 bytes. So 20 bytes will be allocated, and this PTR will point to the first base address. Like this it will happen in malloc. Whereas if the same thing we want to see for calloc, what will happen? The syntax for calloc will be, if I want to do the same thing, it will be integer pointer. So int ptr is equals to, and then casting type here also, so int pointer. Now calloc, now calloc takes only one argument, calloc takes two argument, and malloc takes only one argument. So how I will give here, then how many bytes we want, that we will mention, and then we have to give the size for this data type. So I want size for integer, so that size will be computed using size of operator, and here we can give integer, right? So if we will see in the memory how it going to be denoted, 5 into 4, that means 4 bytes, 5 blocks. So what will happen in calloc? In calloc, for example, here this is 0th location with 4 bytes, first location with 4 bytes, second location, third one, and fourth one. So 0 to 4, like this, 5 blocks will be allocated of 4 bytes because size of integer is 4. So like this, memory allocation happens between Malloc and Calloc. Now, the another difference is it takes only one argument, the number of bytes. Here, it is talking about the syntax. As you can see, Malloc takes only one argument. That is how many bytes you want, number of bytes as the argument. Whereas in Calloc, we have to mention size of every single block, number of block as well as size of every single block. So here if you can see, it is asking this 5 is nothing but number of block and size of int is 4. So your Calloc is taking two arguments. This is one major difference between Malloc and Calloc, that Malloc takes one argument whereas Calloc takes two arguments. Another important difference is by default, Malloc initializes some garbage value, or I should say Malloc doesn't initialize anything, just some random garbage value by default will be there for these 20 bytes. For this location, for this block, there will be some garbage random values will be there. Whereas when we talk about Calloc, it initializes the allocated memory by 0. That means all the location, as soon as we are done with the syntax and dynamically memory get allocated, automatically each and every location, it will be initialized to 0 by default for Calloc. Whereas here some garbage value will be there. Another difference, Malloc is comparatively fast to Calloc, and Calloc is comparatively slow. Why? Because here it take extra little processing time in initializing the places to 0. Whereas here this thing is not happening. Hardly, it's in very nanoseconds, it hardly matters. You will not observe this in the performance, but this difference is there, that Malloc is comparatively faster than Calloc. So these are few differences between Malloc and Calloc. Sample programs I have given in my previous video, you can refer there. So this is it for this session. Thank you very much.